friends, welcome back to my channel. I figured it was only right that I would do my finale on New Year's Eve after 12 months of use. I'm ready to give you guys my final update for 2018 for my Pan That palette. I will show you guys where I was at the very start of 2018 just in case you have forgotten. And then I will show you what my palette looked like after 11 months of usage. This is what my palette looks like after 12 months of usage. Alright, so to talk to you guys about some changes from last month, I zeroed in on Dusty Rose for this past month and wanted to really use that up. Originally, I was focusing on Opal and Sienna, but about halfway through the month, I decided that I don't want to stop working on this palette in 2019. I know there have been a lot of people, at least that I have followed in years past, doing project pans, have decided not to do a Pan That palette for 2019, and I don't feel that way. I still want to pan a palette, but when I sat down and thought about it, I really am enjoying this palette still, and when I look at what I have left, there are still plenty of shades in here for me to work on, so I'm going to go ahead and keep working on this for 2019. It's going to be the only thing that I exclusively work on and give you guys updates for, just because for me, I'd rather see this palette to the end. When I started this palette, I had no expectations of how far I would get, and I've gotten a lot farther in here than I ever thought I would, and so I'm just like really enjoying it still. And for me, if I'm still liking something, I don't see why I wouldn't want to continue it. So as soon as I had that idea in mind, I figured I may as well just try to work on a crease shade in general. So I picked Dusty Rose and really went with it. I did use Opal a bit more. I know it's hard to kind of see with my ring light, but I did keep working on it and widen that pan a little bit, and I did use Sienna a bit more. But aside from that, I don't really have any noticeable usage in here. Dusty Rose kind of really stole the show for me. My favorite way to use Dusty Rose was with the ColourPop shade Acorn, which looks like this. I've really been making some noticeable progress on this. This is definitely on its last legs. The formula is a little bit difficult to work with, which is not how it originally was. So I can definitely tell that it's starting to dry out. So my goal will be to use this as a predominant lid color until it's gone, and then work in some other ones, because as you guys can see on this palette, I don't really have a lot of lid shades left, especially once Opal is gone. I will officially have really nothing but crease shades in here for me. So I'm definitely gonna have to bring in some lighter lid colors to pair with this, which is why it'll be good for me to use some of the other palettes in my collection, and I will be picking one palette a month to figure out if I really have a connection with, if I want to actually pan it in the future, and if not, it's probably going to be out of my collection because I don't really feel the need to keep it. Alright, so now let's talk about sort of just the overall what I accomplished in 2018 with this particular palette. So in this palette originally, there were 32 shades. I immediately popped out 6 of them because I just didn't like the formulation of them. I didn't like the colors of them. They weren't really working for me. So after that, I was left with 26 colors that I theoretically was going to pan or try to work through. And as you guys can see, I managed to completely pan 9 of those shadows, which I was really thrilled with. And I was able to hit pan on 7 shadows. So all around, I was only left with 10 eyeshadows in here that I didn't hit some kind of pan on or use up completely, which for me is pretty substantial with all of the color variation in here. Now, I will say that collectively there aren't a lot of grams of product in each individual shadow, but like who cares? This is pretty big progress for me. I knew that these two columns here weren't going to be that big of a deal for me to pan because they were going to be like my go-to colors, but I'm really happy to have discovered that like I got through blush, I got through a really good chunk of wisteria, I got through a good piece of orchid, which I never thought I would really use. I also at the very tail end of the last couple of months managed to hit pan on black just by using it as a liner, not because I actually do smoky eyes. So when I think about going into 2019, I'm definitely not going to worry too much about espresso or mulberry. If I hit pan on them, delightful, but they're not really my target shades in here. I do like Merlot, and so I would love to hit pan on it, but I don't think I want to pan it completely. Maroon, I'm on the fence about. Gray, I'm on the fence about. And Stone, I am on the fence about. I have not played with those three enough to really get a vibe of whether or not I would like them. So we'll see whether or not I will make any kind of progress with those or make a decision about them in the near future. I definitely want to pan completely sienna, brown, opal, fawn, camel, sepia, wisteria, dusty plum. I think I really like that color. And then maybe if I can push myself, orchid. I'm not quite sure if I could do it. If I can find like a good lid color to go with it, I probably wouldn't have an issue with orchid. So those are my plans. I'm really, really happy with this, and I hope you guys are excited to follow me along next year as I keep panning this. I just feel like I would like to truly see this palette more to its end than I have after 1 year. And I think it says a lot about a palette that after a year and having so much pan showing on there, I'm still not sick of it. I still find myself being able to pull looks out of this. I still find myself doing new discoveries with it. And so I'm just really happy with it, and I think it's just a really awesome palette. And while I probably wouldn't buy it again, I feel like if you're looking for a palette and you don't have a lot in your collection, or you're looking to buy a palette for somebody who's just getting started in makeup, I feel like this palette is so versatile and has just so many different options that I would definitely recommend it for you. The last thing I want to talk about with this are just the cream shades. As you guys know, there was a cream shade in my Lorac Pro palette, but I quickly went through that and the white shade, and so then I went to other palettes. I just want to remind you guys of the other shades I used up. So I went to my Kardashian Beauty Touch Tones Gradient palette, and there were 2 cream shades in here that I managed to work through. I also pulled my other drugstore NYC color quad that I have, but I've since thrown that away, and I panned that. So I did have 3 other creams, and then starting at like the 8-month mark or 7.5-month mark, I pulled out my Too Faced Matte Eye palette, and this is what I have been using ever since. I have what I feel like is a pretty noticeable like dip when you see my finger dip in there, but I have not hit pan on it yet by some ridiculousness. I don't know. I feel like this probably would have taken me all year to pan, so I will be predominantly using this in conjunction with my Lorac Mega Pro palette because I would like to see this through all the way to the end. Alright guys, that is it for me. I wish you all a fabulous new year, and I'm looking forward to seeing what 2019 holds for me and my channel. I'm so grateful that I have you guys here to indulge in my makeup obsession with, and I'll talk to you guys in 2019. Bye.